Good morning. I am assuming that I can be seen on the screen. Is that correct? Can I just check that I'm seen on the screen? Yes, I am. Very good. Now, listen, a very warm welcome to everybody. I know that I can see that there is a good number of people on the call. And as the head teacher, my name is Simon Reed. I want to warmly welcome everybody to this meeting or to this call. And we look forward so much to seeing your children at the school in September. We are really privileged, indeed want to thank you very much for the fact that you have entrusted your sons and daughters to our care here in the UK. We have a long and a very happy tradition of welcoming children from across the seas to the school, and we look forward to continuing that tradition in September. Everybody that comes to the school goes into a boarding house, and we don't have areas of the school, or should I say boarding houses, which are exclusively for our overseas pupils. They are included right across the school in all the boarding houses so that they feel part of what the school is immediately. And that works extremely well. I have to say that in offering this welcome to you, I reflect upon many years worth of our overseas pupils being some of the highest achievers. And we really have had some extraordinary achievements from our overseas pupils in moving on to universities, either in their home cities, or indeed, as is often the case, in the UK. Ladies and gentlemen, I shan't be here for long because I'm going to give way to Dr. Wines, our Assistant Head Admissions, whom I suspect you all know already. But I do want to say very quickly a little about our curriculum. We are unashamedly an academic curriculum, or we build an academic curriculum. And at the center of almost everything that we do is our academic life, our lessons, and the independent study that we try to develop in our pupils as they go through the school, whether they come to us as second formers, but more often the case as year 9 students. The second form I mentioned a moment ago is year 7, or into year 9, or indeed into year 12. And their journey through with us has at its center their scholarship and their academic life. But I know that you will know that education is about a great deal more than what happens in a classroom. And so the broader curriculum, I'm talking here about our music, absolutely crucially, our music and our sport and our outdoor education, canoeing, hiking, cycling, and a huge range of things which we offer at the school. These things are absolutely vital for the development of young people as they transfer from childhood into adulthood, and that is very much this secondary school theme for us, which is to take a young person and try to put them in a place where, as young adults, they are strong without any arrogance. Now, one of the ways in which we do that is to look at the third part of our curriculum, and that is our pastoral care. And a crucial part of our pastoral care is that we're entirely boarding, almost entirely boarding. Of our 900 students, we have about 60 day pupils, the rest are boarding, and this school is open 24/7. And why I call this the third part of the curriculum is because whilst it's really important to learn in the classroom, really important to learn outside the classroom, one of the things which we hold very dear at the school and hold up as being really important is that our children, when they go back to the boarding houses, our young people, when they return to their house parents, that in that context, learning continues and their own interests are seen in the context of other people's interests, and they learn to make that lifelong adjustment, or should I say that adjustment which will be with them for the rest of their lives, and the importance of it. So, ladies and gentlemen, that gives you some idea about our priorities. I, as head teacher, drive these themes very carefully and very purposefully with teachers at the school, but also our support staff. And with that in mind, I'm delighted that we have on this call with us Lizzie Lewis, who is our overseas, or should I say, our international student coordinator. We have Simon Young, who is our assistant head pastoral, and we have Andrew Wines, whom I mentioned a moment ago. We also have Caroline Lumley, who is sitting in the background and making sure that we behave ourselves as far as technology is concerned. And I'm sure that she will do that with her customary tact. It's really good to see you all here. A great welcome to you. And I'm now going to pass on to Dr. Andrew Wines, our assistant head admissions. Thank you, Andrew.
Welcome, and thank you very much for giving up your time. I know it's the evening after a long workday for many people, might be quite early in the morning for others, maybe just the middle of the day where you're scrambling around to do things, but you've taken the time to meet with us today and we're grateful. I want to congratulate you and your children on earning a place at Christ Hospital. It was a completely mind-bogglingly competitive process. Your child had to spend half an hour speaking with me as part of that, which was a pleasure for me, perhaps a horror for them, but they've really achieved something coming here and they have a lot to look forward to, and we want to build on that momentum, but congratulations to them. Mainly, I want to thank you. You are sharing with us your most valuable treasure, your most prized possession. You are trusting us with part of the upbringing of your child. And that for us is an honor and a privilege beyond description. And the purpose of today is to show you through the information that Lizzie Lewis and Simon Young will convey to you how seriously we take that honor and privilege and how carefully we're going to look after your young person to make sure they become the best version of themselves. So thank you for that. And your child literally brings the world to us. I know that you're going to be paying some pretty hefty fees. Personally, I'm grateful to you for that. But your child really enriches us, not through that money, but through the experiences they will share with our other students from the UK, with all of the insights into their home country that they bring. But having said that, children are not countries. We call this an international students webinar, an international parents webinar. This is a Christ Hospital student parent webinar. Your child is just going to be another one of the Christ Hospital students fully assimilated into our community. And I want to assure you, and I think the information you're going to see in a few minutes will reconfirm that they are going to be on the same status as everybody else. They're just another child in that funny uniform, growing into maturity, going about their academic study. And it's that seamless assimilation that really makes things special. That's part of the magic. So thank you for sharing your child with us. Thank you for your time today. Congratulations on that achievement. And one final kind of little billboard notice item. And I know that there may be some guardians with us here today, that your child is 7 days a week, all day, all night, going to be in our care during term time. But there are short holidays when they will be off site, having not returned to the home country. And there'll be other occasions when they need some support outside of school. And that is provided by the educational guardians that you take up a contract with to look after your child in those times. Heaven forbid, perhaps they have a brief hospital stay because they've broken an arm or something, or during the half-term holiday when it's just a week and too little time to fly home. Those are the people who are going to be they're going to be living with, they're going to be acting in a parental capacity when you can't be there. And I'll just make it simple for you. You get what you pay for. And you may well, having paid a lot to send your child to school with us, want to get the best bargain you can in terms of price with regard to the educational guardian. Can I warn you against that? There are top of the range educational guardians, and they will enhance your child's experience and make sure those times outside of term in the UK are as beneficial for your child as the times here at school. There are also some bargain basement, pretty reasonable priced guardians. My experience is you get what you pay for. So do some research, look into the services the Guardian provides, explore what sort of experience your child is going to have with them, and pick the very best one you can. But thank you for your time. I'm going to hand over to Lizzie Lewis and then to Simon Young, and you're going to learn really important information, and there'll be a chance to ask questions afterwards. But just thank you from me, and I've really enjoyed this opportunity to speak with you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Wines. We're going to begin with me, first of all. My name is Simon Young, and I'm Assistant Head Boarding at Christ Hospital School. And I've done this job for 5 years now, having previously worked as a house parent in one of our boys' boarding houses. I'm now going to give you a whistle-stop tour of boarding and pastoral life at CH in about 20 minutes or so, with Lizzie Lewis, our International Student Support. Following this webinar, your house parent will be in touch to arrange an online one-to-one welcome conversation. So if your questions are not answered today, there's an opportunity to raise questions at a later date during this webinar with your house parent. So we have 18 boarding houses. There are 16 single-sex boarding houses along our Central Avenue, and these are for Year 7 through to Year 12. We also have 2 co-educational Year 13 boarding houses for our students in their final year, the vast majority of who go on to attend university the following year. We are unashamedly a boarding school at heart, and although we have a small and active group of day students, we're essentially full boarding. We operate 7 days per week, and there is lots of entertainment put on at weekends for our students, all of whom stay at the weekend. The weekends are a really social time. Our pastoral provision begins in the boarding houses with our boarding house teams, with your house parent being your child's primary point of contact. Your house parent is always on hand to help, but equally the matron's assistant house parent and house tutors are also available on a daily basis to provide any necessary support. The boarding houses. So in the centre of this slide is one of our amazing matrons, Shelley Glanville, from Main Boarding House. Our matrons most certainly run the boarding house during the day. They are one of the constants in the boarding houses, as during the day, the house parent is often out teaching a lesson or leading a sporting activity. If you need to speak with a member of the boarding team during the day, please do contact the matron. They're always on hand to help and should be your first port of call when it comes to medical matters and matters relating to general care. Equally, as I said earlier, contact your house parent as well. These 2 people from a pastoral side are going to be the most important people for you whilst your child's with us at Christ Hospital. The boarding houses at Christ Hospital are uniform in design, each consisting of a large day room. This is in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. The main day room is for whole house meetings and for general relaxation and socialising. There are also smaller common rooms for groups of students to gather to play board games and watch TV. All boarding houses have a junior and senior kitchen for the preparation of food, but these often receive minimal use as our dining hall prepares 3 full meals each day with lots of different options. So there really is not a huge need to use the kitchens in the boarding houses, but they're there just in case. A few things that I always say to new international families at this stage is that water throughout the school is drinkable. So there's absolutely no need to send bottled water to your child. They can drink the water in the boarding house. Also, due to space, we can't accommodate rice cookers for students in our boarding houses. But please rest assured that rice and noodles are prepared on multiple occasions each week, so rice cookers really aren't required anyway. However, it would be a really nice touch if you could send your child to Christ Hospital with their own mug, bowl, plate and cutlery and label them with your child's name. We have learnt over the years that students prefer and feel there's a nice touch from home to have their own crockery and cutlery. We have house issued crockery and cutlery, but it's quite nice for them to have something from home. Please also label all of your children's devices, phones, tablets, and laptops with their name. We need the name on these devices, the phones, the tablets, the laptops, because we collect them in at night. And we do this to ensure that your child is sleeping and not playing computer games or messaging late at night. We keep your children busy during the day at Christ Hospital, so come night time, we really need them to sleep. Some perhaps less exciting pictures now, but they are really important. The central picture shows the clean uniform rolls that your children pick up at Matrons 3 times per week. Uniform is provided for all of our students, and this is stored in their personal pigeonhole. Students' own clothes are washed by the school and collected from their pigeonhole too. And it is really important that parents label all of their children's clothes with their child's name and boarding house number. You'll receive instructions on how to do this from the school. So your child's name and house number, please, on all their clothes. If you're unsure about how to label your child's clothes, even with the instructions, get in touch with your matron, who, along with your house parents, I repeat, are your primary points of contact. When it comes to clothing, please do not send your child with too many clothes. As we wash clothes regularly, you can see the laundry bags in the bottom picture. There is only so much space in each boarding house wardrobe, so please ask your child to be selective. They cannot bring their whole wardrobe from home. 5 sets of personal clothes from home will be more than sufficient. Some of our students only actually bring 3 sets, so 5 is definitely enough. The picture in the top right-hand corner is of our boarding house tuck lockers, and each student is assigned one of these for their personal food. Again, these are not that big, and they really do not need to be, as our dining hall serves ample food. So please do not send your child with too much snacks, as they really don't need it. There's tons of food in the dining hall. This tuck locker and your child's boot locker, which is the top left-hand picture, need a small padlock. And I would ask you to give your child 2 small padlocks, combination locks, and get them to bring them to school. 1 combination lock will go on the tuck locker, 1 combination lock goes on the boot locker. All cash must be handed into the house parent upon arrival. And you really do not need to send your child to Christ Hospital lots of cash, lots of money. In fact, many places in the UK do not take cash now. So what is important is that your child has a bank card and credit card that works in the UK whilst they are here. That's really important. And I recommend you get that set up before they arrive. The welfare team. So one of our key areas of pastoral support outside of the boarding house team is the welfare team. This key group of staff meet weekly and have full oversight into the care of all the students in school. This group includes the deputy head students, me, assistant head boarding, our chaplain, our child protection officer, who is referred to as the designated safeguarding lead, our 3 school therapists, the senior nurse, and the head of learning support. This group of staff have the experience and expertise required to help support and provide the very best care for our children if they go through a difficult moment in their young lives. If your child has experienced any trauma in their young life, and this is really important, and I'll repeat it for that reason. If your child has experienced any trauma in their young life, you must tell your house parent immediately, as we need to know this so that we can care for them fully. Equally, just as important, if your child has any special educational need, again, you must tell your house parent immediately so that we can put the necessary support in place. These are both really important points, and we need to know this so we can care for your child fully and ensure that they achieve their full potential. The medical centre. Our team in the medical centre are amazing, and the facilities are first rate. We have a school dentist, doctor, private wards, consultation rooms, and single sex wards for both boys and girls. Our senior nurse, Elaine Kimber, who's in the top left-hand picture, runs the medical centre. One thing I do need to make you aware of is that if your child has infectious symptoms at any point at Christ Hospital, so that's vomiting, diarrhea, or COVID, for example, your child is unlikely to be able to stay in school due to the risk of infection spreading to others. An uncontrolled infection spreading could easily shut the school. On these occasions, parents are asked to collect their children, and this is yet another reason, linking on to what Dr. Wine said earlier, why you must pick a really reliable guardian who's local, so they can be collected if, unfortunately, they did get an infection of some sort. You have already been sent some medical forms to complete before your child starts at Christ Hospital. These forms include permission to treat your child if they're unwell or in case of emergencies. We really do need these forms completed before your child comes to Christ Hospital. And each year we do have to chase a few parents to complete the medical forms. They can't stay, the children cannot stay with us if we don't have completed medical forms. So this is really important, please. Lastly, for this section, all medication, vitamins and herbal remedies that your child comes to Christ Hospital with must be licensed for use in the UK and contain full written instructions, including ingredients list. Otherwise, we cannot administer them to your child. Really sadly, each year we have to dispose of lots of medication that is unidentifiable, and it breaks our hearts to have to bin so much. When it comes to vitamins, if you'd like your child to take vitamins, please send them with one multivitamin tablet rather than lots of separate packets of vitamins, please. It helps us manage it more easily. So to be really clear on that, any medication, vitamins you send with your child has to have ingredients and instructions written in English, please. Wellbeing spaces. The grounds are amazing. If you haven't been fortuitous enough to visit the school, you will have seen it on our school website using the drone footage that is on there. So therefore, our grounds are a wonderful wellbeing space in their own right. And this slide points out a few other areas of wellbeing that we have activities in throughout the school week. In our wellbeing spaces, our students undertake these are just some of the activities that are wellbeing related they undertake. And I just want to draw your attention to our exciting expeditionary education programme at Christ Hospital, which includes canoeing, mountain biking, rock climbing, conservation, archery, cooking outdoors, sewing essentials. The children make these cute little sock bunnies, which is really gorgeous. Bike maintenance, first aid, the natural world. We spend some time looking into medicinal and edible plants. There's a lot of campcraft, and we do orienteering as well. I mean, our expeditionary education programme runs across all years, and each year children are taking part in this, and it is simply outstanding. I cannot speak more highly of it. The chapel. When it comes to well-being, the chapel is a key part of it. The chapel is the heart of our school. Its school life centres around it. We are a Christian school at heart, and inside the chapel is where a large part of our Christian teachings take place. The chapel is also a multi-faith place of worship, as we have students that are non-Christian at Christ Hospital, but whose families respect the value of Christianity. For example, 3% of our student population is Muslim, and many of our students prescribe to absolutely no faith at all. These children are simply asked to observe proceedings quietly in chapel, and they listen to talks that always contain important pastoral messages. The children wishing to embrace the more spiritual side of life, we have lots of student groups for this, including the Christian Union, Muslim Student Association, Jewish and Catholic groups too. Food. Food is really important to our students. This will come as no surprise to you. And we make every effort to ensure that our students and staff are well catered for in this area. We work closely with Chartwells, our school catering provider. Every day is a buffet with multiple main meal options on offer at lunch and dinner. You'll see from this slide that we do not serve certain types of food each day for breakfast, as it is really important to us, our students, have a healthy diet. Many students would like to have sugary cereal every day. We just can't do that. We have a responsibility. We have occasional meat-free meals to show our students that you do not need to have meat every day with every meal. There are other ways to get protein in your diet, of course. Sunday brunch is probably the highlight of the week, I have to say. For our students, it has a full English breakfast and continental trimmings on offer. Our caterers also make great efforts to focus upon food from different cultures too, and we enjoy celebrating key events throughout the school year, such as Chinese New Year, Diwali, and the end of Ramadan. On these occasions, we serve food in our dining hall traditionally eaten during these festivals. So not only do the students who celebrate these festivals eat the food, our whole community does. It's a lovely inclusive aspect. Our students are strongly encouraged to make our caterers aware if they would like to have an evening meal for the whole school based around their culture. We really encourage that. So whatever country a child is from, if there's certain meal they would like to see on the menu, we can accommodate this. Our two student-led groups, the International Student Society, led by Lizzie Lewis, and the East Asian Society, have an awful lot of input into the school menu. Timings. I just want to make you aware of some of the core timings of the school day, as this is important for our families living in Asia in particular. The best time for you to speak to your child at CH, if you live in Asia, is the morning, either prior to or after morning registration at 7:45 a.m. UK time, or at morning break, 11:10 a.m. UK time. Morning break lasts for 30 minutes. That's a nice time to talk. Your child also has free time to speak on Sunday, and this is a day of relaxation across hospital, so any time in the morning on Sunday is fine. The only time that conflicts on Sunday is when chapel is on, which is 10:30 a.m. to 11:15 a.m. and that's UK time. So either side of chapel, 10:30 a.m. to 11:50 a.m. works well. Students in year 10, that's UF, and above can visit Horsham on a Sunday, and to ensure that they can do so, please return the permission slip provided if you would like them to be able to go into Horsham. So that's year 10, UF, year 11, GE, year 12, Deputy Grecian. We need to have parental consent for them to go into Horsham. If your child is in year 12, Deputy Grecian year, and you would like them to have the odd social alcoholic drink with their house parent, so with an adult and their friends in the boarding house, please do complete the alcohol permission form. Alcoholic drinks are only served to Deputy Grecians year 12 at the end of term parties, so this is only 3 times a year, but we do need consent from you. No alcohol is served to any student in year 11 and below, so that's GE and below. Lastly from me, before I hand over to Lizzie Lewis, I just want to mention bedrooms and bedtimes. Students in year 7 to 9, so that's second form, third form and LE, are in 3 to 4 person rooms. Year 10 UF is 2 person rooms. Year 11 GE tends to be 2 or 1 person rooms, and they rotate to make it fair. Year 12 Deputy Grecians have single occupancy rooms. At night, as mentioned earlier, we collect all mobile phones in for year 12 to year 7, so year 7 to year 12, so that's all the year groups. Phones are collected in, and all devices are collected in from year 7 to year 11, and this is to ensure children can sleep. We elect year 12 keep their laptops and their tablets. They're sixth form students, and we have to start trusting them, and they've got work to do. One final last plea from me. Please can you purchase a small battery-powered alarm clock for your child, as they will need to set an alarm to wake themselves up in the morning. We take their phone from them, so therefore they can't use their mobile phone as an alarm clock. So please, can you look into just get one of those really cheap battery-powered alarm clocks. Thank you for listening, and I would now like to hand over to Lizzie Lewis, who will continue this presentation.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Young. Yes, a very warm welcome to you all, and it's really good to kind of sort of be in touch with you at this early stage. So a little bit about me. I have several roles at the Christ Hospital. one is international student support, but I'm also an assistant house parent in a girls' boarding house. I also teach some of our a program for juniors called Learning for Life, which is threads all through the school and is really about sort of personal, social, and health education. So I get to meet a lot of the students through that. But probably most importantly, I'm also a mum. So my son has been in CH since year 7. He's now in year 12 and going into year 13. And my husband also lives and teaches at CH. So I've got quite a range of sort of insight into the sort of school life. Just now looking at the slide, I think, yeah, there are so many sort of important and key people to be in touch with. And we've already flagged the importance of the house parent. We've talked about the educational guardians. You've met Mr. Young. Also, as mentioned previously by Mr. Reed, Caroline Lumley is sort of in the background. You can't see her, but she is absolutely key in terms of communication about travel. And Caroline and I are in close contact about the start and end of each term. So we know where everybody is going, what time they're going, how they're traveling, and also on their return. So being in touch with Caroline is absolutely crucial because she will ask you at regular intervals for information about your child's travel, which we actually need for their sort of visa. It's part of the visa requirement that we know where they are, and that's from the time that they land at the airport. We actually need to know exactly where they are. So if they're staying if they're staying with a guardian or somebody sort of en route, again, we just need that information. It's really helpful if you can reply to her promptly and give her the information. So other ways that we are sort of in touch and supporting children is through the students themselves. So we have usually 2 lead students who kind of oversee with me all the support that we give to all the internationals. We have about 120, 130 international students in CH, and we'll have a couple of seniors, like I said, who will sort of oversee and be in touch with them. But also, really importantly, every boarding house has an international representative. That's somebody who all the students can go to. They're sort of supported by them in the boarding house, and then I meet with the representatives about every 3 weeks, and we touch base. I ask how all the students are. Sometimes I go and visit them, and they're kind of a part of the sort of communication network between the students and the staff, and that works really well. I'm also in touch with all the students on our communication system, which we're using now, called Teams. So we have an international student team, and then I can message everybody, and they're in touch with me through chat, sometimes through messaging, and that's a really again is used a lot, and it's a really good way for them to connect. As you can see there, we also have mentors. So when we have, for all new students, older students are sort of designated to be their mentor and sort of guide them and help them when they start in the school. We have, every boarding house has a student leadership team, a house captain, a deputy house captain, a welfare leader, sports. And again, there's that kind of support network in the boarding house, as well as the monitors who are across the school, as have senior sort of leadership roles. And we also have buddies, again, for new students, somebody that they can be in touch with. If you haven't yet had communication about their buddy, I'm sure that that's something the house parent will be in touch about. Okay, I think we're ready for the next slide, Mr. Young, if that's okay.
Yeah, bear with me. I just need to move it on.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay, thank you. So Dr. Wines spoke earlier about the importance of choosing the educational guardianship. And just to be clear about the role that they have. So when your child's in the UK, they act sort of on your behalf. So they can just be another form of sort of emotional, practical support, helping with information, sometimes with translation in some cases. But as we mentioned, providing accommodation that might be at sort of in the shorter holidays, at our leave weekends or half term, but also if your child is unwell or needs to leave the school for a few days, and they can also help with organising the travel. So I'm in touch with the guardians, with the guardian agencies, and they contact me. So, and I meet with them. They come and meet the children, and I also meet with them and just check in to see how everyone is. So that's another sort of important relationship. Okay, are we able to move? There we go. Thank you. So a little bit more about this because it is so important. And we will share these slides with you so you have the information. So as we've mentioned, there are guardian companies. Some families choose to use a private guardian, but we ask that you please do check. You can see there that there is an organization, a kind of quality mark called Aegis. It's the Association of Education Guardianship for International Students. So the sort of the best companies are registered with Aegis, who kind of checks that they have everything in place. If you don't use a guardianship company, you can see there in the bullet points, these are the sort of requirements for a guardian. If you want to choose or use somebody privately, they must be over the age of 25. They must be an adult who's not a student, so not a university student. They must be fluent in English, have a permanent residence, and ideally quite close to CH, not sort of the other side of London. So that, yeah, it just makes it much easier for the students. And ideally somebody who's not going to be traveling a lot, so they will be sort of reliably here if they're needed and easily contactable. Okay, so we've mentioned the holidays, which are really important, and we really strongly encourage our international students to get away from CH when they can, to get not just to get a proper break, but also to experience other aspects of being in the UK, enjoying time with a family. They can have a really good rest. Sometimes host families will take them out, take them into London, or take them just other sort of sightseeing, that kind of thing. So we do recommend for the students' well-being that it's good for them to get away from school. So the host family is somewhere they will go and stay, and that sometimes it's the guardian or sometimes the guardian company they will arrange that for you. Okay, and there are many fantastic local host families around us. Sometimes they will feel shy. I mean, it is a bit, it can be a bit nerve-wracking, but they can feel nervous meeting people for the first time. But some of our students have really wonderful relationships with local families, and once they overcome that initial kind of concern, then they relax, and it can be a really wonderful lasting relationship. So for that reason, we recommend that they stay with the host family for the first leave weekend in September, so that they kind of make that connection. And then after that, it will be much easier for them. Okay, we're moving on. Thank you. In terms of travel, yes, please do check the website. The term dates and timings are all published on our website. I've mentioned already, Mrs. Lumley will be in touch with you. A very brief survey, just asking about your plans, your arrangements. We can accommodate some students in the school at leave weekends, but the key thing is that we need to know. We need to know what's happening. I think, yes, I've already mentioned everything else there. So moving on again. Thank you very much. So there are times when you may need to request leave for your child for a particular maybe a family event, a university visit, but please do request permission. There is we have a parent portal where you will receive a lot of information, and there is a place on the parent portal to request permission for your child having sort of additional leave. We do have lessons right up to the very end. Okay, so if they leave a little bit early, we understand it's sometimes convenient with flights. They will miss not just lessons, but often we have key events, sporting events, house competitions, presentations. So we really do want them to be here every day that's possible, because if they leave early, they will miss really important things. Okay, so we're just flagging that right now. Okay, moving on. I think we're nearly there. Mention communication through the portal, and we also use Teams, as that's the platform we're using now. But you will mostly receive emails. Again, please do look out for those emails that come in about the holidays in particular. In school, we have a daily kind of notices system called roll call. We have registration with all the students are required in the boarding house every morning and every evening. We have roll call notices with them. As well as their own devices, we also have computers and phones available in the boarding houses. So there are other ways that they can. So if their phone breaks, for example, they will be able to use a computer or a phone in the boarding house to contact you. We've mentioned about laptops. The students in LE, that's year 9 and above, are expected to have their own device for their academic work. We do have restrictions on the school network, and particularly websites that are not allowed. So just be aware that there is a sort of protection on the school network and system. We do allow exceptions for international students to use their phones at different times because of the time delay. So just so you know, particularly the younger students, they can have their phones earlier in the morning if they need to get, or earlier in the afternoon if they need to contact you. Okay, right, I think we're nearly there. Very importantly, when your child arrives, and when you arrive in September, there will be a whole team of us ready, waiting to meet you and looking forward to meet you, and to make you welcome and make them welcome. And there'll also be many students, international students and boarding house students, who'll be there as well to help them. So when you arrive, we'll be there. Someone will take you to the boarding house. They can unpack. There'll be introductions, and then you can see there that we will help them get their uniform. We'll help them set up their IT so they get their school email. There will be an introduction to the site, to sort of orientation. We try to make it very relaxed and very friendly and not stressful. So there'll be some games and activities and a barbecue where they can just meet each other and say hello. Then there's a reception for parents and guardians with the head teacher. And if you need to talk to our learning support department, you can do that. There'll be an opportunity for them to choose their actives, and there's also a chapel service. So there's quite a lot to do, but we try to make it, like I said, quite relaxed, and there'll be lots of people around to help. So, okay, moving on. Yes, just a repeat of something mentioned before. If you could please set up bank accounts and any sort of SIM cards before they arrive, and that's really helpful. It's not something we can do for you, and that's again something your guardian might be able to help you with if you need help. Okay, I think we're there, Mr. Young, so I will just remove myself.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Mrs. Lewis. So now is going to be an opportunity for us to take some questions. Dr. Wines, me, and Miss Lewis will do our very best to answer the questions. So please do pop them into the Q&A, and we will tackle these in the next 10 to 15 minutes or so. But just bear with me whilst I look through. And keep putting the questions in, please. I'm not sure we have any questions at the moment. No. That's why I was struggling to find them. No question is too silly. We'll have a go at answering anything.
Can I just, while we're waiting for the question, say one thing? First of all, I'm grateful to Mr. Young and Miss Lewis for all the information they conveyed to you. And can I say, as an observer like you, I could hear that laundry list and think, oh my God, what have I gotten myself into? There are all these do's and don'ts. All of that detail is to get the nitty-gritty out of the way so that your child can fully access the experience and be having a good time and making most of the educational opportunities. So it is a lot to do. It may seem, even in areas, a bit nitpicky, but if we can get that foundation of jobs and tasks finished as soon as possible, it just makes it easier for your child to access all the opportunities here without any disruption. So it's meant positively. It's meant to support your child. It's meant to support you, but we acknowledge it's a lot of work, and we thank you for your efforts in doing that.
Thank you, Dr. Wines. Now, we do have a couple of questions, which is wonderful. Question number 1, what is the earliest time a student can return to school after a half-term holiday? Now, the time the boarding houses open after each half-term holiday is 6:30 p.m. So 6:30 p.m, please, after a half-term holiday. The second question, do students need to prepare their body soaps, shampoos, etc.? Yes, please do ensure that your children come with shampoo, soap, body gels, toothpaste, all the sorts of amenities you'd expect to find in a bathroom at home. Our shower facilities, bathing facilities are excellent, but they don't include soap and gel, shampoo, etc. Third question, will a tablet instead of a laptop be okay? Absolutely, absolutely. The tablets we recommend as a school are the Microsoft tablets, and that's the one I would advise you if you're about to make a purchase to go and buy. A Microsoft Surface Pro, one of those variants. It doesn't need to be a top spec one, but that would be a very good choice. One of the Microsoft Surfaces. Our teachers have the Microsoft Surface Pro, so their lessons are prepared from this tablet. It marries up beautifully when the students have the same one. If you've already purchased one and it's high spec, and maybe it's a Dell or an Apple, that's fine. You do not need to go and purchase another one. But if you need to get one, go for Microsoft, please. Next question, do we order the uniform or go to the school shop directly? Now, the uniform is included in the school fee. So the uniform is provided for you. So you do not need to purchase it. You wouldn't be able to, in fact. It's specific to our school. Sports kit, though, you do need to purchase for your child, and there's a whole selection on the school shop on the website for you to purchase sports kit wise. Dr. Wines, I have a question that I think you'll need to address. Who charges the visa and IHS costs? I'm not sure what IHS is, I'm afraid.
So I think that's the health supplement the international students have to pay. So first of all, the UK government are the people who charge these things and are paid these things. I believe that Newland Chase will make the charge directly to you, so you will be paying them to pay the UK government. I will check that just to be certain, but it is neither Newland Chase nor Christ Hospital benefit from this payment. The UK government pays it for the services that they are providing. I think you're charged directly for that by Newland Chase as they process your application, but we can check that. And can I just ask you if you individually, if we have the name, or if you could email individually about that, we can clarify that answer, but I'm pretty certain it will come through Newland Chase.
Thank you, Dr. Wines, for confirming that. Linking on to the previous question about shampoos, toiletries, you do not need to send your child over with them. I need to make that really clear. When it came to the Horsham Pass, you'll get a Horsham consent form. Now, Horsham is a town near Christ Hospital. It's the nearest town. It's a market town. It's a lovely town, I have to say, and it's got lots of shops. And there's a supermarket called Sainsbury's there. And the students who have permission to go into Horsham, this is year 10 UF and above, can easily go into Sainsbury's to purchase any shampoos, food, anything you'd expect to get in a supermarket, to be honest. If your child is in year 9 LE and below, I would send them over with some shampoos, toothpaste, soap, unless your guardian's going to go and buy it with them. But for year 10 and above, they certainly can get it themselves.
Can I just add something, Mr. Young? Sorry, and it's related, sorry to interrupt. Many students order things online to be delivered to the boarding house. So they can order from our sort of big department stores or from Amazon, and many of them prefer to do that. It's very convenient. It can take a couple of days because all packages that arrive go through the sort of school post room, and it can delay things by 1 or 2 days. But yeah, many of them do online shopping. And that's also related to the next question, which is about bedding. So you can order the pillow and the duvet from the school, but in terms of the cover, the pillowcase and the sheets, yes, you do need to buy those. And again, you can order those to be delivered online to the boarding house. Usually best to do that nearer the start of term, so the last week of August is what we would suggest. So many of them do that. You can buy your own bedding if you want to, similarly, and have it delivered. So, but most people will purchase bedding from the school and then order the sheets, pillowcases and things themselves and have them delivered.
Thank you, Ms. Liz. Next question is, do students need to wear school uniform all the time? In answer to that question, no, they don't. School uniform is worn on formal occasions, so school occasions. So when we have lessons, we wear school uniform. When we're in chapel, we wear school uniform. When we have visitor speakers coming in, they wear school uniform. But at all other times, free time, social time, the children don't wear school uniform, so they can wear their casual clothes, their home clothes. That's no problem. The next question I'm very familiar with. I have 3 children myself. It's to do with eczema. My 3 children actually have quite significant eczema. So if my children suffer from eczema, is it available for us to send a special moisturizer cream for them? Now, absolutely. The instructions must be in English on it though. So going back to my point earlier, the instructions and ingredients list must be in English, but please do send them in. Document this on the medical form that goes to our matron as well. And depending on the type of cream, They may be able to keep it in their room with them. So there's certain sort of salves, creams, balms that are for putting moisture into skin. The children can just keep in their bedroom and apply it multiple times each day. If it's a eczema cream that has steroids in it, then that has to go up at matron. And if it's got petroleum jelly in it as well, paraffin, I should say, paraffin is flammable, that certainly would have to go up at matron too. So it depends on the type of cream. Next question. Do you have specific name labels to be sewn into clothes? If so, will you send them internationally? Now, with regard to name labels, there aren't specific ones, so you can purchase your own name labels. We're quite breezy about this. We're really open-minded. You choose whatever works for you. Some people sew them in. Some people get ones that you iron on, and the iron-on ones are pretty good now. They stay on during the wash. The olden days, they used to come off really easily, but they're much better. Just make sure if you go for an iron-on one, you go for a high quality one. If your child purchased some clothes maybe at the airport or whilst they're in the UK, the matrons, there is a charge, can put the odd name label on as well. I think it used to be 50p per label. I can't remember, maybe it's a little bit more now, but the odd one can be done by matrons in those situations. Students, the next question, students are required to vacate the room for summer vacations. Absolutely. So during the
can I just jump in, and this maybe I'm deaf or senile, but the key thing about the name label as well, you, as Mr. Young has said, you can purchase them, you should purchase them, put them in yourself. And I think Mr. Young probably said this, but just to reiterate, your house parent will issue you with a house number, and it's important that you put that number on the label. Is that correct, Mr. Young? Am I?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I didn't mention it again just then. So if you're in, let's say you're in PLA, you would put PE for Peel, PE, capital A, and then your son's name, because that's a boys' boarding house. There are instructions on how to label through admissions. It's really specific, and you get sent the instructions multiple times actually, just so we get that right. Going on to that next question, students are required to vacate the room for summer vacations. Absolutely. During the summer, we have language schools coming to Christ Hospital. So the rooms need to be emptied. They get cleaned as well during the breaks. And that's the same during Easter. So the rooms get emptied at Easter. We have language schools coming in at Easter as well. And over Christmas, we have work done in the rooms. There's cleaning, of course. So over Christmas, they need to be vacated. So Christmas, Easter, and the summer, your child will need to empty the room. Now, if there are certain items that are really big and that you can't get on a plane home, there are spaces in the boarding houses to store these items. So things like bedding. Bedding's a big one. That can be put into storage units in the boarding house. That's fine. That's something we allow our international students to do. Our UK students have to take everything home because they live in the UK. It's easier for them. Okay, I think we might be there with the questions. Yes, Mrs. Lumley is nodding her head at me right now. Well, can I just say it's been an absolute pleasure to hold this webinar today. Really enjoyed feeding all this information to you about our wonderful school. And we really are very much looking forward to seeing you in September with your children for the International Student Induction Day, which is on the Saturday at the very start of term. I do hope you can make it then. If you can't make it then, do get in touch with us. That would be lovely to hear from you. And if your guardian can come along and you can't come along, that would be great too. Thank you very much. Take care and have a lovely rest of your evening. Bye.